this is basically going to be the last video I do before I go to sleep. So, hey, it's the Abstractionist. I did a video recently, like I think in the last week, about getting rid of like digital declutter or something like that. And so I have started that process, and it's been a pretty good process. Like, it takes a really long time because like you are dealing with like digital stuff, and then the way things are formatted on different platforms, it's really hard to kind of like eliminate things. So like Pinterest, it's like you can't control click all of the pictures that you want or all of the posts that you want for Instagram or whatever and just delete them. You have to go like one by one, which is so time consuming. But then again, the apps are designed to keep you on there as much as possible. So it's kind of like, I get it, but like I'm not consuming media like that, like going through my saved. I'm trying to eliminate you know what I'm saying? So there's that. Going through a lot of my saved stuff, I had questions of why I saved this shit to begin with. I also kind of realized that I saved a lot of stuff thinking that I would come back to it, thinking I would remember it, thinking I would use it in a later date. And what I realized is that my energy would be better used actually doing things in the current moment than saving it for like a future date that never will come, most likely, because I am going to forget that this thing even exists. I try to clear out all of my like saved posts. So I have like several accounts on Instagram, and I have to go through all of my saves and then like eliminate them. And I think what'll happen is, for the most part, I'll just eliminate all of them in each pile. Because while I like saving posts, Pinterest makes more sense for that because it just makes more sense. Like, it's a place where you can actually save photos. Like, Instagram is not a good place to save photos, and I'm learning about platforms and what their uses are going to be for me. So I think there's that. Another thing I noticed is that I'm a different person from back then. And while I'm okay with keeping a lot of my Pinterest stuff, you know, from years and years and years, because I am not going through 5,000 pins or 10,000 pins or whatever for my fashion board alone, and then, oh, I don't like this anymore, like, whatever, fuck it. If I get inspired, I'll go back through it and then just like see what I like and see what I was interested in. There's a few bags and stuff like that that I've saved and I really do want to purchase. It's more functional in that way. But I noticed that I've changed as a person, and why am I holding on to this old stuff, like from old identities? Like, the experience going forward is like kind of enough, and I'm okay with having no perhaps digital memories of things, or very little digital memories of things. If I have like a Polaroid and like photos and stuff like that, and maybe even photos that I like took on my phone but I like printed out and kept on a scrapbook or something like that, like I feel like I would rather keep it as a physical. And I know it's kind of like a physical, like your house could burn down or you could like trash it accidentally or something like that, but digital space seems kind of like a place where you kind of procrastinate and you kind of keep things in limbo almost, because you're not really going to use it at that moment. You're just saving it for some future date that like never comes. It generally never comes, because unless you're like a designer and you're using this inspiration specifically to make a fashion line or a magazine or something like that, like usually what you're saving is I'll get around to it kind of stuff. And will you? You know, you gotta be honest with yourself. So I think I'm just being honest with myself at this point. Like, I won't get around to it, like that. Also, I don't follow a lot of people on any of my Instagrams. I tend to keep it under 300. And the reason why I keep it under 300 my number is even smaller on YouTube. I try to follow under like 30-ish people on either accounts, on any my accounts, because I have more than one YouTube. On my ultra personal YouTube, where I just follow lifestyle stuff, Into Red Room, where I follow stuff related to Into Red Room, and The Abstractionist, where I follow stuff related to like tarot. But I try to keep those numbers under like 30, because I don't want to be suggested like a bunch of stuff, and I try to keep it also within the same kind of realm of things, because I don't want to get suggestions from videos from all over for all topics, and it's just like, I don't even like this kind of content, so how the fuck did this end up being suggested to me? Because I've done that before, where like my subscriptions look really weird, because it's just like all these different things, and then you get suggested all these different things, and you're being pulled in so many directions. I like very perhaps myopic subscription lists, and I like very clean subscription lists. So I don't like too many people on there that serve no real purpose. I don't follow people even if I like them. I've just developed like really strong boundaries in that way, because I know if I don't like seeing your shit on my feed, even if it's an aesthetics thing. Like sometimes I don't follow people purely because the aesthetics of my inbox or whatever, my list, is going to get messed up. And that's a terrible thing to say, but it's like, I will follow you, but just not subscribe. Like, I'll support you, I'll click yes, I'll click thumbs up, I'll comment and stuff like that. But sometimes I just don't want to follow that content, because I just don't want it to pull in other things that I may not like. Like for tarot, there's certain readers that I'll look into now because I've unsubscribed to them, to see what they're up to see if, maybe I want to watch a reading or something like that. But for the most part, I'm not interested in having them back on my subscription feed. So I'll check it's like 5 that I eliminated, and then go from there. Most of the people that I be watching, like, they leave or they decide to do something else. So it's like, damn. There's that. I'm also getting into the space of clothing and decluttering in that way. That's more Into Red Room type things, but the digital declutter here is really like upon us. I think Pluto entering Aquarius kind of just has me thinking about my old self and what I've stored on my drives, cloud, and what I can finally let go of. There's so many things that, I screenshot, or I send to my friends. So I screenshot it and send to my friend. And there's so many things that I have that are great memories, but it's like, I'm not going to revisit a lot of this stuff, like 85% of this stuff. So it can go. And it kind of feels like that mental decluttering helps also. Like, this decluttering is helping the mental decluttering, because I can let that stuff go. It's not occupying my mental to like how to keep it or why am I keeping it and questioning that. It's just, I'm letting it go, So I feel great about my digital declutter. I will be doing my cloud, my Google, because I had to get more space for that. And I'll be going through that and eliminating stuff. So I basically got a Gmail from college. So I'm going to delete a lot of stuff and move forward with that. But it feels really great. Spring cleaning is definitely upon us. Spring cleaning is definitely something that, if you have a lot of ish in your surroundings, go through. And if you feel like you're stepping into a new identity and you want to clear out everything, go for it. And I would suggest also going through what you're subscribing, what you're following, what you're looking at. Like I said, I keep, for Instagram, I try to keep it under 300 people that I follow, because I can't get to all those people in a day anyway. Instagram and algorithms actually kind of seem to stifle certain people's posts, which is rather unfortunate for them. But I just don't want to get overwhelmed with a bunch of stuff that I'm following. Like, I'd rather save their website on my laptop and have it in my like favorites and categorized there, where I can just constantly look back on it, than keep it on Instagram or keep it wherever. So that's where I am. I am in the process of reconfiguring my identity as Pluto goes into Aquarius. It will be squaring my moon, so my emotional identity has changed. On Enter Red Room, I talked about beauty and talked about my wound with beauty, and going forward, like, what does that mean for me? Because a lot of the childhood stuff is kind of done. I'm more into my teenage years and trying to figure out like emotions from that period, and a lot of that period deals with us going through some like heart pains when it comes to belonging, and when it comes to like the wider world, understanding that we may not belong in wider social circles. It's kind of like the first time you really step outside the bounds of like familial belonging and go into like societal belonging. And so issues with that, and kind of the push-pull between what your family says, what society says, and you trying to figure out like where you fit. And so this digital declutter is also kind of making peace where I have found myself in both of those spaces as cataloged by these digital clips and digital photos. So there's that. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching all of the videos. I don't think I have any more ideas to do. Yeah, but thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later.